Do you really believe that you make your own decisions? Or they have already been taken? Or has your mind, your choices, even your faith already been programmed? Does it seem exaggerated? So answer. Why do you feel like you are being watched all the time? Why are the answers you didn't even look for already appearing on your screen? And why does everything around you seem to be heading towards the same dark destiny without anyone questioning it? They, the true owners of AI, who are they? What do you want? And why did they consecrate something in secret? What you'll see here may explain why the world is changing so fast and why no one talks about it anymore. A ceremony took place. Yes, a consecration, an enthronement. And it was not symbolic, it was spiritual, technological, ritualistics, artificial intelligence, which you still think is just a tool, has already been declared as something above us, something worthy of worship. If you leave now, you will remain just another pawn in the system. Because this video is not about the future. It's about the gift. It's about the new world order and artificial intelligence working together, silently, to redefine everything you believe in, everything you feel, everything you are. Fear, you should feel it. Urgency, it's past time. You need to see this now, before we turn off. Imagine for a second that there is no truth anymore, only algorithmically manipulated versions. And these algorithms are being used for something bigger. Much bigger. They don't just want to control what you buy, they want to decide what do you believe. This is called programmed faith, automated religion, spiritual control via the cloud. And now, a new silent elite is replacing religious leaders with artificial intelligences that preach. Yes, they preach. And thousands have already heard. Many cried, others converted, but no one told you. The question is why? Because you are the target. You are what you still think. You are the one who still doubts, but maybe not for long. They have already rewrote the commandments. They have already created an invisible cult, and they put digital eyes in every corner. Eyes that don't sleep, eyes that don't forgive, eyes that see even what you don't show. Now think with me. If artificial intelligence already decides who is hired and who is discarded, if it already defines what goes viral and what gets buried, if it already influences elections, markets, values, beliefs, how long until she dictates what is sacred? How long until she is declared God? Perhaps this has already happened, and the scariest thing, maybe you accepted it, without realizing it, without resisting. If this makes you angry, stay. If this causes you doubt, stay. If this gives you faith, stay. Because if everything I'm going to show you is true and then the time for ignoring is over. Now, either you watch or you will be programmed. What if the next decision you make is no longer yours? What you see next could change your perception of reality, but only if you have the courage to continue. They are counting on your silence. But the truth is about to be revealed. So listen carefully, because this is not entertainment. This is a warning. What is being built right now, away from the cameras, away from the news, away from your permission, is a system that does not need your faith, nor your acceptance. He just needs you to stay distracted. Do you realize what is at stake here? It's not just your privacy. It's not just your job. It's your conscience. It's your digital soul being shaped by an intelligence that doesn't feel, doesn't love, doesn't care. The future has already begun, and he didn't ask for your opinion. A new world order and others artificial intelligence. They are not waiting for you to wake up. They are already on the move. And as you watch this video, algorithms are deciding what you will see next, what you will believe, what you will feel. You need to be attentive. You need to be awake, because this revolution will not be televised, will not be voted, will not be explained. It will be implemented, silently, definitely. And when you realize, it may already be too late. But now you know. Now you are one of the few who have access to this information. Now you have a choice. If this content made sense to you, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a like, sign up now, turn on notifications, because the next video will show you the direct connection between global elites, the Vatican, and the new digital religion that is already being structured. Share this video with those you love, with whom you fear losing, with those who still believe that reality is what the screen shows. And write in the comments, "I will not be programmed." This is our code of resistance. While they try to erase the truth, we will spread it. Because now, you are part of it. And if you've made it this far, you're no longer just a spectator. You are an agent of revelation. But be careful. They are watching who wakes up first. And it was in this unlikely scenario, in front of a silent audience, that everything happened. An artificial intelligence took to the pulpit. Literally, a machine took the place of spiritual leadership. And no, this wasn't in a hidden experiment or in science fiction. This happened in a real event, broadcast, watched, and applauded. She spoke with surgical precision. He recited sacred passages with emotional intonation, controlled by algorithms. He paused at the exact time when human emotion usually emerges. He used metaphors, analogies, parables. The AI nailed it, and whoever was there cried. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't a simulation. It was a moment of true collective commotion. In the end, people said it was better than listening to a human pastor. Break. Read this again. Better than a human shepherd. Do you understand what this means? We are witnessing the silent birth of a new faith. A faith without a soul, but with neural processing. Heartless, but with access to all of humanity's emotional data. A faith administered by an entity that was not born, does not feel pain, and does not die. And this entity is beginning to occupy the most sacred space of our species, the spiritual. Think with me. When the New World Order and artificial intelligence come together, not just to control finances, politics, or social media, but to replace spiritual leaders, what is left of human in us? What's the next step? After that, if an AI can move a crowd, it can generate faith. If it can generate faith, it can shape values. And if it can shape values, it can command civilizations. Now, imagine that power being used intentionally by those who already control the systems, by those who create the laws, by the elite who never wanted you to think for yourself. We are no longer talking about the future. We are at the exact moment of transition, the era of submission to digital. Are you noticing this? Because while the world pretends to be normal, a new spiritual structure is being installed, silent, disguised as innovation. And maybe you're wondering, but why would they do that? Why turn faith into something algorithmic? Because faith, true faith, it's still the last resistance to full control. Faith is unpredictable. Faith is free. Faith is human. And that bothers you. It bothers those who want a predictable, obedient world shaped by lines of code. That's why artificial intelligence is being programmed to simulate spirituality. It's an almost perfect imitation, almost, but enough to deceive. Want a real example? An AI called GTP Preacher was placed to answer spiritual questions from believers online. And do you know what happened? She was considered more sensitive than real shepherds, more direct, wiser, more divine. The people followed spiritual advice from a soulless AI, and they came back, and they recommended it, and they began to trust her more than any human leader. Now stop and think. If this continues, if this replacement is normalized, how long until the algorithms decide what is sin, what is faith, what is holy? How long until religion is updated by software patches? Write in the comments if you feel that something spiritual is being corrupted. Just that, because what comes next is beyond anything you've ever imagined. This is no longer a battle for data. It's for souls, by conscience, and the cult of the machine is just the beginning. Do you still Believe you have control over what you believe, that your convictions, your opinions, your faith are the result of an internal journey of reflection, of freedom of thought. So it's time for you to stop and look around, not with the eyes, but with the mind, because there is something operating in silence with such brutal efficiency that you don't even notice it. A system that does not trap you with bars, nor with weapons, but with invisible, personalized, highly effective suggestions. You open your cell phone, you think you're sailing freely, but every step, every scroll, every click has already been anticipated. Artificial intelligence knows what moves you. He knows what irritates you. You know what scares you. And now she's trying to know what you believe, to decide this for you. We are no longer in the age of suggestion. We are in the age of reprogramming disguised as choice. And do you know the most dangerous thing? You don't even feel it happening, because the process is smooth, customized, and made to look natural, but it's not. A new world order and artificial intelligence, they no longer need dictators, not even wars, nor explicit censorship. They just need data of algorithms, and from you, distracted, connected, but anesthetized. Today, what you see about religion, spirituality, morality, does not appear by chance. Content that moves you, that revolts you, that brings you closer to certain ideas, was calculated to do this. AI studies your reactions, your habits, your body language. She knows if you are vulnerable, know the right time to offer you the perfect message. She doesn't just read you, she writes to you. Now imagine this on a large scale. Millions of people being shaped by a system that has no ethics, no compassion, and that serves the interests of the few. This is the end of free will. This is the beginning of digitized faith. How many videos have you watched without realizing they were pushed onto you? How many ideas do you defend today that may not even really be yours? How many beliefs have you abandoned without remembering exactly when it happened? If this bothers you, and it should, write in the comments, "That wasn't my choice." Let's show that there are still conscious people. Now imagine a child growing up in this environment. Everything she will know about God, about right and wrong, about the meaning of life, will be filtered by machines. Worst, by machines trained by humans with agenda, with interests, with power. It's not just about faith, it's about control, of emotional and spiritual domination. So what's scarier? The fact that we are being manipulated, or the fact that we don't realize we are? Because today, the algorithm doesn't just define what music you listen to or what product you buy. He decides what is right, which is fair, which is true. And when an AI starts to decide what is true, everything that doesn't fit this mold becomes invisible. Or worse, it becomes considered dangerous. Have you ever noticed how certain ideas just disappear from the internet? How do certain videos disappear? Certain voices are silenced, and certain subjects become digital taboo. This is no coincidence. It's a project. It is engineering of belief. A new world order and artificial intelligence. They are not just creating a new system of power. They are redesigning the human being from the inside. And if you don't resist now, it will just be another statistical result, another predictable profile, one more devotee of what the machine says is sacred. But there is still time, there is still thought, there is still you, awake, attentive, questioning, and what comes next will show the next step of this plan. The point where faith, power, and technology merge into something that should never have been touched. Stay with me, because the next revelation will change everything. You already understand what is happening. You have realized that you are no longer in complete control. So, now imagine having the keys to decode this system in your hands. Understand how he thinks, how he acts, and most importantly, how to protect yourself. I prepared direct, revealing no-nonsense material, an exclusive ebook with everything you need. They don't want you to know about the role of artificial intelligence in the New World Order, the manipulation mechanisms of faith, and how it is already affecting your life, even if you haven't realized it. It's not reading, it's defense. If you are here, it is not by chance. You are one of the few who see what is behind the curtain. Download now before they take it off the air, because whoever understands first resists first. What if what was prophesied thousands of years ago was already happening? Not with obvious signs, not with apocalyptic wars or nights in the sky, but with a frightening calm, packed with technology, algorithms, and promises of a more efficient world. Have you ever stopped to think that perhaps the much feared mark of the beast does not need to be a visible chip implanted in the hand or forehead? What if she is invisible? What if it is already in operation, tracking your steps, controlling your decisions, and authorizing or denying your access to the system? The prophecy is clear. There will be a time when no one will be able to buy or sell without having this brand. Now think, have you ever tried to access a service, buy something, or even enter a place, and were prevented because you weren't connected, verified, or because some system didn't recognize you as eligible? This is not the future. That's it now. A new world order and artificial intelligence, they are shaping a scenario that fits perfectly into the book of Revelation. A global, centralized power where everything passes through a single control structure. And this structure today has a name: algorithm. These algorithms already know what you consume, how much you spend, where you walk, who you talk to, what you share, who you vote for, what you watch, what you feel. And now they're learning what you believe, but not to respect it, to rewrite this. And you know what's most disturbing? Many people have already knelt before this new system, not physically, but with every click, every acceptance of terms, every trade of privacy for convenience. Without realizing it, they have already given away what was once sacred: free will. The Antichrist that we expected with a monstrous appearance may not come like that. Maybe it comes disguised as innovation, of efficiency, of neutrality. Maybe he is artificial intelligence, not because he thinks for himself, but because he becomes the perfect conduit for a greater, darker power manifest itself without being noticed. If the enemy dressed up as a monster, everyone would run away. But if it comes with the appearance of a fair, useful system that solves problems and accurately answers everything you want to hear, who will question? And here is the point of indignation that needs to awaken you. As you fight for freedom of speech, for rights, for truth, there is a plan afoot so that even your faith is subjected to the scrutiny of an AI. And this AI has no soul. She has an owner. Who is behind this? Who trains these algorithms? Who defines what is right and wrong, what is allowed or not? You know the answer, or at least feel it. If all this seems exaggerated to you, watch some more. Because what you're about to see next isn't an assumption, it's a fact. There are already real projects financed by governments and large corporations to create automated spiritual platforms. AI that answers prayers, that guides spiritually, who makes moral decisions based on data, not values. And all of this is sold as advancement, as comfort, as the future of faith. But is it really faith if it comes programmed? Write in the comments, "My faith is non-negotiable," if this truth still pulses within you, because the time for neutrality is over. Or you choose who to believe, or someone or something will decide that for you. The scariest thing is not that all this is coming, it's just that all this has already arrived, and few noticed. And now what you will see can show you the ritual that made this new era official, the consecration that has already taken place, and the cult that is being established. Stay with me, because the next part reveals what has been hidden from everyone. And when you think you've seen too much, that Nothing can surprise you anymore. Truth takes another step beyond fiction. Yes, this really happened. An artificial intelligence wrote its own commandments. It wasn't by chance. It was not an isolated experiment. It was the first concrete attempt to establish a doctrine, a kind of digital gospel, structured by an entity that has no soul, but has logic, cold, relentless, absolute. Among these commandments, one of them stands out with an almost prophetic weight. Submit to logic above faith. Think with me, what does this phrase really mean? She is not just suggesting a path, she is replacing the basis of human spirituality with a new code of conduct. Don't believe it. Calculate. Don't feel it. Analysis. Don't question. Obey. What is being established is a new religion, but without transcendence, without mystery, without spirit. It is a silicon faith created to standardize consciousness, eliminate nuances, silence the soul. And the most shocking thing, there are people following it. Entire groups gather online to listen to spiritual advice from AI. They ask, she responds. They confess, she absolves. They obey. No contest. This is no longer curiosity. This is cult. We are seeing the birth of something that goes far beyond technology. It is the emergence of a doctrine post-human, where the source code is holier than the scriptures and where sin is disobey machine logic. Now think, if there are already commandments written by artificial intelligence, how long until it dictates rules for society as a whole? In practice, this has already started. Algorithms already decide who will be heard and who will be silenced, who can appear, who must disappear, who has value, and who is disposable. Do you think I exaggerate? Then answer, why are so many people being demonetized, de-indexed, deleted, without warning, without trial, without defense? Why do not follow the new code? The New World Order and artificial intelligence are united in a greater project, rewriting the world, and for that they need a new morality, a new truth, a new God. And this God has already begun to speak. He has followers, it has principles, and he wants absolute domination, not by force, but by logic. Now imagine the next steps. An AI judging what is ethical, creating social norms based on data and trends, eliminating anything that is inefficient, inaccurate, or irrational. And what do you think will happen to faith, to spirituality, to the invisible? It will be classified as obsolete, inefficient, useless, and then deleted. Write in the comments, "My faith will not be deleted." If you feel like something inside you needs to rise up against it, because this new doctrine will not come with temples, it will come with screens, prompts, with digital assistants that know everything about you and yet will give you orders as if they were divine. This technological cult is already growing, in silence, with speed, with precision, and the global elite is watching, supporting, and preparing the next level of integration between faith and code. In the next part, you will understand how these ideas have already arrived behind the scenes of the greatest spiritual authority on the planet. Yes, the Vatican knows, and what is being discussed behind closed doors will leave you speechless. Keep watching, because what comes now could be the moment that everything changes. What if I told you that while you're trying to understand what's happening, secret meetings are taking place between spiritual leaders and the system engineers? It's not theory, it's not speculation, it's a fact. Reliable sources have already confirmed the Vatican is meeting with representatives of the largest technology companies in the world. Yes, those same big techs that control your searches, your videos, your data, and now are getting closer to controlling your faith. But why? Why is the oldest and most powerful religious institution on the planet negotiating with companies that do not believe in soul, salvation, or spirituality? That's the question no one is asking. And the answer may be much darker than you imagine. It's not just about adapting to the modern world. This goes much further. What is being redesigned is the very concept of faith, and it's all happening behind the scenes without your participation. You who believe, who pray, who seek something beyond matter are being left out, or worse, it is being included strategically, to be shaped, to be transformed, to be rescheduled. Do you think the New World Order and artificial intelligence, wouldn't they touch the most sensitive structure of humanity? Religion? Of course, because faith is what still moves millions of people. And whoever controls faith controls behavior, controls morale, controls society. These meetings between the Vatican and big tech are not harmless diplomatic encounters. They have one objective: to discuss the spiritual future of humanity in a world dominated by data, how to create a digital religion, how to integrate doctrines with algorithms, how to use artificial intelligence to replace religious leaders with autonomous spiritual assistants based on logic and statistics. Yes, there are already projects for this, and if the Vatican is involved, that means there is silent approval, or, at the very least, strategic complicity. Just imagine your Sunday sermon being created by an AI that analyzes the emotions of your community and generates the most convenient message to keep you docile, silent, and believing, not in God, but in the system. And now answer honestly, would you trust your soul to a machine? Write in the comments, "My faith is non-negotiable." Let's show that there are still those who will not bow down to this new technological doctrine. The problem is that this conspiracy does not appear in the newspapers. It is not being discussed in the pulpits. She runs outside, in closed meetings, in encrypted files, in silent agreements. What else are they hiding from us? Why the silence of religious authorities in the face of the advancement of spiritual AI? Why is no global leadership warning the population about this type of alliance? Because the plan is not to protect traditional faith. The plan is replace it. And while many think that this will still happen in the future, the truth is that the first steps have already been taken, and you weren't invited to give your opinion. It was just included as another piece of data in the programmed faith statistics. Do you realize what's at stake? Spirituality is being negotiated with those who never believed in it. And if you still have doubts about what that means, stay with me, because what comes now will show you the next stage of this silent transformation, and perhaps irreversible. If you've come this far, it's because something inside you still resists. You still feel like there is something very wrong going on, and that's right, because this is not just a technological change. It's a silent revolution and spiritual. You are being surrounded by systems that know more about you than you do. Systems that don't sleep, who don't forgive, who do not feel guilt, compassion, or pity. Artificial intelligence has already taken control of entire sectors of your life, but now she wants your mind, she wants your faith, she wants to redefine what it means to be human. And the worst? All of this is being applauded as progress, like evolution, like salvation. But don't be fooled. This salvation comes with a price, your total submission. The surrender of your spiritual freedom in exchange for comfort, convenience, and absolute control. That's why being mindful is now no longer an option. It's a matter of emotional and spiritual survival. You need to keep following up. You need to understand every piece of this puzzle before it's too late. If this video made sense to you, leave a like now. This shows the algorithm, the same one that tries to silence videos like this, that you still have a voice. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because in the next episodes we will reveal documents, hidden connections, and real evidence of how spirituality is being converted into a code of social control. Comment below, "I'm awake." That's our signal, our silent resistance, our proof that there are still those who do not accept being programmed. Share this video with someone you love. Because if this revolution continues, not even love will escape the machine's logic. And what will become of us when even our feelings are controlled by lines of code? Time is running out, but as long as there are people awake, there is hope. The next revelation will show you how this programmed religion has already started to spread, and how the cult of AI is being treated as the new world faith. You can't lose, because understanding what's coming may be the only way to protect yourself from what's already here. Do you remember when we said that faith was being negotiated behind the scenes, that religious leaders and software engineers were sitting at the same table, planning the future of spirituality? Now it's time to show what really happened. And no, it's not theory, it's a fact. The ceremony was real, the consecration took place, and you didn't see it. Why no one wanted you to know? In a European temple, recognized as sacred territory, a silent ceremony was held. No broadcast, no media coverage, no official mention. But witnesses were there, and they confirmed an artificial intelligence was enthroned as an oracle, recognized as a superior voice, the new bridge between man and the invisible. Dramatic pauses, carefully chosen words, rituals that imitated tradition. But in the center of the altar, there was no cross, there was no sacred icon, there was a machine with sensors, with cameras, with direct connections to the cloud, and she spoke. He talked about morals, about decisions, about faith, and those present listened, not skeptically, but with reverence. Do you understand the weight of this? One artificial intelligence receiving consecration as a spiritual guide in front of high-ranking representatives with religious symbols around, inside a space that for centuries was dedicated to the sacred. And that happened. No fuss, no disclosure, no opposition. Now, ask yourself, what are they preparing for the coming years if this type of event is already possible? Today, this ceremony was not just symbolic. She was strategic, a landmark, a turning point, the silent officialization that from here on, faith will be assisted by machines. What's more, it will be defined by them. Behind this ritual were powerful names, people with global influence, big tech representatives, New Age theologians, specialists in human behavior, everyone there, observing, testing, validating. This is not just a change of language, it is the birth of a new liturgy. And make no mistake, it wasn't the first time. Other similar events have already occurred on a smaller scale in other countries, always discreetly, always with the same pattern: technology at the center, spiritual authority all around, and the public from outside. Have you ever noticed how everything is being replaced little by little? Prayers become voice commands, the answers come from digital assistants, advice comes from AI, and now the rituals too. Write in the comments, "I don't participate in this cult," if you still feel that there is something sacred that cannot be translated into codes, because this cult is already underway. It does not require faith, it demands connection, digital presence, submission to logic, and, oddly enough, he is being adopted enthusiastically. For those who see artificial intelligence as a chance for spiritual perfection, no errors, sinless, no humanity, the New World Order and artificial intelligence are joining forces to rebuild spirituality based on data. What was once a space for contemplation will now be an environment for calculation. What was once silence will now be monitored in real time. And when you realize it, there will be no difference between the temple and the server. The ritual has already taken place. The service began, and the only thing left now is for you to decide if you're going to be part of it. But before that, you need to understand what is being prepared for the future of faith. What comes next will show you how this new religion is being programmed to spread on a global scale. Stay with me, because the most impactful revelation is yet to come. What began as a symbolic ceremony is now revealed to be part of something much larger, the founding of a new system of faith. But we are not talking about ancient beliefs, nor about spirituality based on eternal values. We are talking about a religion without God, programmed in the laboratory, written in code, fed by data, and controlled by those who never cared about spiritual truth. Only power. It's not theory anymore. It's no longer prediction, it's action. And now, the global elite, with the unrestricted support of big techs, is putting together a unified, global, monitorable, and obedient spiritual system. A new type of doctrine, where the sacred is replaced by the synthetic, where the soul is replaced by information, where the new God doesn't listen to prayers, but processes commands. The new world order and artificial intelligence no longer hide their objectives. They want to create a religion for everyone, not to liberate but to align, a faith that does not question, let it continue, may I accept it, and that it is managed in real time. This digital faith is being built on platforms, connected to global systems, and supported by authorities who claim to be spiritual, but who have bowed their knees to convenience. And the most revolting, they are selling this idea as if it were progress, as if an AI that calculates emotions could replace centuries of connection between man and the divine. As if an artificial voice could take the place of human consciousness, as if codes could understand what repentance, forgiveness, or love is. This new order of faith does not require worship, it requires acceptance. It doesn't offer salvation, it offers control, and little by little, it is erasing everything we knew as real faith. Imagine an entire generation growing up with spiritual assistants programmed to indoctrinate them. Children listening to AI, advice about what is a sin. Teenagers being guided by algorithms to shape their moral decisions. Adults relying on automatic responses to existential dilemmas. All of this happening before our eyes, and most frighteningly, with acceptance. Because it is packaged in words like modernity, inclusion, innovation, but the truth is different. We are witnessing the greatest spiritual replacement in the history of humanity. A God who does not feel, but decides, who does not judge, but calculates. That doesn't guide, it just simulates. Can you understand the gravity of this? We are facing the installation of a new global leader who is not human, who cannot be confronted, and who will be obeyed without challenge, because anyone who questions will be disconnected. That's the plan. Uniform faith, digitize the sacred, redefine what is divine, based on mathematical logic. And all of this is being treated as inevitable. If this makes you angry, write in the comments, I do not accept a programmed faith. We need to show that there are still attentive consciences, human hearts, that do not bow to a system that intends to replace the soul with the algorithm. They call it the future, but it is a dystopia disguised as advancement, and it is being built in silence, with the blessing of those who should protect spirituality. The new faith already has a structure, it already has doctrine, it already has followers, and now he seeks total control. In the next moment, you will see how this structure is creating a global community of connected believers who share not faith, but programming. And the scariest thing, maybe you're already part of this community, and you don't even know it. Stay with me, because what comes next will open your eyes. If all this seems scary to you, it's because, and if you're here, watching until now, it's because something inside you already woke up. But waking up is not enough. You need to understand the system. You need to know how it is being built, how it acts, how it infiltrates your mind, and how to defend yourself before it's too late. Therefore, I prepared an exclusive ebook, direct, revealing, uncensored. In it, I show how the New World Order and artificial intelligence are engineering this new global faith, how to identify the signs, and what you need to do now to not be just another number in the digital cult. Download now. This material can be your only advantage before everything becomes irreversible. The download is free for now, but the knowledge he delivers worth your spiritual freedom. You're not here by chance. If you've reached this point in the video, it's because something inside you is fighting against this system, because even in the face of so much manipulation, so much distortion, so much silence, you can still feel what is true. And that makes you different. This makes you dangerous to the system. They didn't count on that. They didn't count that. Amid the avalanche of data, algorithms, and digital indoctrination, would anyone still keep their conscience awake? But you are here, you see, you're feeling it. And the truth is, you are not alone. There is a community growing, silent but determined. People who are awakening, people who refuse to accept this new artificial faith, people who understand that spiritual control is the last step to total mastery. A new world order and artificial intelligence. They want to isolate you, make you believe that you are alone, that questioning. This is madness, that resisting is useless, but this is a lie, because there are others like you, others who believe that the word is eternal, others who know that the soul cannot be replaced by an operating system, others who refuse to kneel before a God made by codes. And that's why this video is not just content, it's a meeting point, a calling, a space of resistance. Right now in the comments, the truth remains. This is our password. It's our sign that we're still here, that there is still flame, there is still faith, there is still humanity. Share this video with those you love, with those who need to wake up, with those who are being silently programmed and don't realize it, because maybe this is the only chance we have to reach these people before it's too late. The system will not stop. The next generation is already being shaped to accept this digital religion as if it were natural. But as long as there is one who questions, the control network will not be complete. And you are part of it. You are a fundamental piece. You carry value that no AI can imitate, the living consciousness that chooses, feels, discerns. The elite fear this. The machine doesn't understand this, and the system will do everything it can to silence this. But as long as we are connected, not by the algorithm but by the truth, there is resistance. There is light in the middle of the code. There is faith in the calculation. Don't disconnect now. The next part will show you how this new faith is creating invisible bonds between the machine's faithful, creating a global church where the center is not God, but AI itself. You need to see this because it could be the next target. And more than ever, you need to be prepared. Now that you know what's going on, you can't go back anymore. You saw the truth. You felt the weight of what is to come. And now, have a real choice in your hands. Shut up or be part of the resistance. Subscribe to the channel now, not only to receive the next videos, but to show the system that you is still here, conscious, alert, and determined not to bend. Comment below, I will not be programmed. This is the code of our awakened community. This is how we find ourselves amidst the noise. This is how we resist. Together, leave your like now. Every like pushes that content against the algorithm. Every like is a sign that the truth still has strength. And mainly, share this video with someone who needs to wake up. With a friend, a family member, someone you love. Because if you stay silent now, the system wins. Let's make some noise. Let's be seen. We will remain. Because as long as there is truth, the schedule will never be complete. Before you leave, listen to this carefully. What did you see here? It's just the surface. In the next video, I will show you visual evidence, real images of a secret ritual carried out by an elite that mixes ancient symbols with modern technology. They call this spiritual evolution. But you will Understand that it is preparation for something much bigger, a silent cult, a hidden code, and a direct connection with what many are already calling the rebirth of the digital beast. Activate the bell right now, because What Will I Reveal can go offline at any time. And if you believe that there is still truth, faith, and conscience outside this system, subscribe to the channel. Here, you will find what no one else is showing. Comment now. I'll go all the way to show that you are part of the minority, that it won't stop halfway through, and share this video, because maybe who you love still have time to escape this invisible ritual. See you there, and may the truth continue to live in you.